kooky the creative class things get. Like that one right there, the fact that there's no guns whatsoever, you know, like that is something you would have never have seen before. Like who would have ever thought about going to a match without a gun?
You know, I can name one guy actually who was a big source of inspiration for this thing, who really runs around with just a knife all the time. That's his thing, you know.
Oh.
So I think it's kind of you know, the people have done weird things. They'll actually break their controller so they can't accidentally shoot their gun and things. And it was just it's a very, very clever way of playing with this. This is Hardpoint. This is the new game mode, and this is Carrier, which is a map I don't think anybody's really even seen.
Nope. This is you're seeing it here for the first time.
Yeah, I love this map. Let me show you the overhead view of this map real quick. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. We're actually live streaming on the other system, not this one. That's my bad. Sorry.
It's okay. So we're seeing Carrier. You know, it is. I feel like it's a smaller map, but for things like Hardpoint 2, it gets totally like crazy.
Yeah, this is complete chaos. Now, I am shocked really every time you talk to fans. It's almost like you can't make the game fast enough for them.
Sure.
You know, it's I'm getting too old to be playing in such chaos. I like my games a little more strategic and at a pace I can deal with. But you know, the fans love this kind of thing, and this is a very small map. It takes place on the deck of a Carrier, but only part of the deck, and well, some flanking pass around. You know, and I think this map's going to be proved to be really popular, just because the action's so intense.
So remember, if you want to send your questions at IGN with the hashtag BlackOps2, if you're just joining us, you can ask David Bondar here, Game Design Director, questions about the game, just like at Dragon Dagger 7 did. He says, where do you get the ideas for multiplayer maps, and how does the creation process begin, keeping, you know, all the player skills in mind?
Yeah, so, you know, everywhere is the answer. We're actually looking for inspiration all the time. It could be from any place. Now, in this particular case, the level designer Dave, he's actually a huge military guy, big buff. You know, he goes and actually visits, you know, say a World War II decommissioned museum that's actually a Carrier, and you know, it was just an environment that really inspired him. And then obviously you get into 2025 and what those might be like, and you know, having a Carrier that doesn't have to launch planes the traditional way, but via drones. And you know, so in this particular case, it really came from his personal interest and love and fascination with this subject, and that's just one example. But you know, we go through a lot of trouble to find environments that are fun to play. We want to take you places that you might not get to stand on or be at normally.
Right.
But you know, they have to be great multiplayer maps, and I will tell you that reality is that most places in the world are not fun multiplayer maps, so we take a little creative liberty, of course.
Of course.
It's a hellstorm coming down right there.
At Dragon Dagger 7, I really liked your question. So you're going to win an Xbox 360 copy of the game, which means we still have 4 Xbox 360 copies and 5 PS3 copies to give away throughout our live stream. You know, one of the things I think that people will notice is that a lot of the weapons look kind of familiar. Like, how did you guys kind of handle, like, you know, the riffing that you do off of the weapons?
Yeah, this is Murad and the weapons team, and I mean, they are absolute studs. So there's a tremendous amount of thought that goes into which weapons will make the cut. There's a lot of prototyping that goes on to figure out, you know, where to go. Like, where do you know, the crossbow was like a fan favorite, right? So how do you take the crossbow and put it in 2025? Would we even use crossbows in 2025? I have no idea, right? So, you know, it's just this kind of this fun thing that we do, where it's a pretty elaborative and creative discovery process. We go through a lot of weapons to find the ones that will actually make it, and it's really 3 people that kind of pull this all together. There's the weapon artist, lead weapon artist himself, the lead weapon animator, and the lead combat designer. Those 3 guys and their teams are working to put this together for the fans.
Yeah, I noticed that I feel like if you had a favorite weapon from the previous games, there is a sort of a weapon that will be there for you. Like, you will find your comfort zone in this still. Like, I was always, you know, that I like the MTAR because it feels kind of similar to the TAR, and but similar but not exactly the same. And I feel like you know, or the AK-47. Now there's the AK-74U. You know, they are different but the same, and that's kind of comforting for someone that's played a long time. You know.
Well, I mean, you know, accessibility is actually a really important design goal all the time, right? It needs to be something that you can kind of you know, have a decent experience with right off the bat, something that you've, you know, are familiar with, but there's actually a lot of differences here too. So one of the core system level differences in the weapon system right now is we have a tremendous amount of control over the fire rate system that we didn't have before. That's where you get attachments like the select fire switch. You can actually change the fire rate. In fact, there's a gun called the AN-94 which actually shoots the first 2 shots at a different fire rate than it shoots all the other shots. So we're doing a lot of really interesting things.
Oh man.
There's the death machine. That's a score streak here.
Yeah, there's
this guy's going to probably do some chaos for sure.
Yeah, although let's see, let's go to see our friends at IGN Livestream.
Let's see
how he's doing.
Let's see how.
Yeah, how do you handle?
Yeah,
so
there's the
you see a
AN-94
person
actually.
with the death machine rolling around. You can hear it in the background. You know, that chain gun. How do you handle someone with the death machine?
Yeah, so I stay out of the way and I try to get him to lay down out his ammo. So because this is a score streak, it doesn't magically disappear if you kill that guy. He can actually burn through all of his ammo before he's done with that reward. So you have to take shots on that guy from the side or from the back. You don't want to find yourself in a head-on situation that is not very pleasant, and then just get out of the way.
So at Divinitize on Twitter, he says, can you talk about the different modes that'll be available? And he says, will wager matches be returning?
Yeah, so we have in Black Ops 2 multiplayer, we have what we call party games. And now if you're familiar with Black Ops, you actually know those in the previous game as wager matches. But because we don't have COD points as our principal method of unlocking,
right,
we don't have the wager mechanic. But the game modes themselves, One in the Chamber, Sharpshooter, Sticks and Stones, all of those fan favorites are back and they're in party games. And the big difference between Black Ops and Black Ops 2 is that the party games actually give you experience points. So you're earning medals and you can actually rank up. It's something that we learned from the fans that was a very important thing, is that people liked the wager matches, but they felt like they were kind of missing out if they were playing them in their regular progression.
If you're not leveling up, yeah.
Yeah,
it's like,
so, you know, in hindsight, of course. So they're actually part of the core progression. You will still earn experience. You can still level up, even though you're playing game modes that don't actually use credit class or have score streaks in the first place.
I really like Sticks and Stones in particular because there is nothing more satisfying than getting a throwing axe kill. That's like my current favorite.
I'm a One in the Chamber player. I just absolutely love the purity of a single bullet, don't miss, you know.
Well, it's funny even if you do miss, though, because then you're trying to close the gap on someone who has a bullet and you have a knife and they're hesitating shooting you.
I have fooled so many people into thinking I did not have a bullet, and I just do the whole, you know, the magic dodge knife game, and then they walk up and I pop it in their head and it's over for them.
Yeah, the ballistic knife is still in the game, though, and I think a lot of people... Well, it's funny how many people, when I was talking to people at IGN about this and stuff, they asked me, is the ballistic knife still there? Is the ballistic knife? I didn't realize that people really love that thing so much.
The special weapons are just, you know, something that I think we were all surprised by how popular the ballistic knife was. And there's entire communities of people dedicated to knifing and ballistic knifing. And, you know, so we updated the art and animation set that the ballistic knife uses and give it a little 2025 vibe.
So
that's a complete blowout right there.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Why don't I see if?
Yeah, sure.
Well, yeah. We're gonna actually try to do what we can to show you the Pick 10 that we're looking at a screen that's looking at a screen that's casting. You know what?